All right, Thursday's lesson on some things called the Iron Curtain. You're going to learn about the Berlin Airlift, the Berlin blockade associated with the Berlin Airlift, and you're going to hear me, not Ms. McLean, you're going to hear me, this video of me reading this to you. So, learning targets, you're going to work to understanding how East and West Germany came to be. That's where your work's going to be done, slides 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then you pick either 11 or 12, and you do the surveys on 13. So, timeline, set thing in chronological perspective. World War II ends in 1945. You'll know that. But that is right when Germany was divided because the Soviet Union, the agreement was, would get part of Germany, the east part, and the Allies, Great Britain, the United States, and France, would get the western part. And they also split up the tiny little capital of Berlin that was right in the middle of the eastern part. But anyway, so here is a description of the Iron Curtain and a picture that shows you the idea of the Iron Curtain. I say idea because it wasn't an actual curtain. It wasn't an actual thing. It was an idea. An idea to describe control of the Soviet Union over everybody that they had control over. And then there's a question right there for you to answer. I can just give you the answer, but whatever. Then here's an excerpt, a little tiny part from a Churchill speech where he actually, and you know who Winston Churchill is, he actually used the term Iron Curtain. So again, I advise you, before you think of the answer, to read the question, go through the source, and then get your answer. And then you get into East and West Germany being split, and you see here's Germany. The red part is the part controlled by the Soviet Union, the communist part. And these other parts were controlled by the United States, Great Britain, and France. Eventually, the United States kind of paid for all of it because we're the ones that had more money than them, because their countries have been destroyed in the war. Anyway, and then this little tiny dot here is Berlin. It's split up the same way. It was in the middle of the communist part. Anyway, that's the agreement that was made. And then there's a question. And then there's about the blockade. A blockade, if you remember from your Civil War history, if you learned this in your Civil War history in 6th grade, blockade is when somebody stops things from coming in or out. And that's what the Soviet Union wanted done to East Germany or West Berlin because they were embarrassed with people escaping from communism by going through West Berlin. They thought if they made them dependent for supplies and stuff on them, then they'd have control. But in response to that, there was the Berlin Airlift, lifting supplies by airplane. So this gives you a description of that. Then you do one of the See Think Wonders. You don't have to do both. So this is the information. This is the directions. You pick one of the slides, either 12, political cartoon, of Uncle Sam jumping over the Soviet Union, or this of the Air Force pilot Gail Haverson, who came up with the idea of, well, you see right there what it says, dropping candy to kids in West Berlin as they were flying the supplies in. Anyway, and then there's your reflection surveys. Please do them. And then you have your optional activity number 1, a video about the airlift, not very long, political cartoon that you analyze and put a few tiny little answers, and then another short little video about the chocolate pilot, Operation Little Victuals. Anyway, so if you have any questions, once again, email.